Hi, welcome back. Today, let's talk about a beginner runner or an athlete that decides to take athletics for their own benefit. So there are three categories on this. Number one is a student that aspires to enter an institution and it derive an incentive. That is, if you want to earn a degree using your skill and talent that you have, you will be considered as a beginner runner. And secondly, if you want to be an elite runner or a professional runner, you can also be considered a beginner runner. Lastly, is if you want to feel good about yourself, if you want to lose weight, basically you want to get in shape and feel, of course, be healthy. And this is an advisory from most doctors that you participate in sporting activities, something that triggers and runs your cardio. You want to improve your body and lose some weight and be able to function as a normal human being. Based on that, it doesn't matter whether you are a person that has a certain weight and height, and of course, everybody has different anatomical body, so you would not really. It doesn't matter. You can just be a beginner runner or a jogger at the same time. So let's start with the student. If you just finished high school or just a year or so, you've already passed your exams. I'm talking in two phases as well. If you have a grade of C minus until the grade of C plus, you will be considered a student athlete who enters a junior college, which is you at the end of 2 years you will receive your associate degree in the United States, for example. If you scored a B minus and going up, you would receive a bachelor's degree right here in the United States as well. Um, so then your beginning journey would be to enter a camp, a training camp. The reason why you would want to enter into a camp is because that is where you would learn the skills and the philosophies and the strategies of becoming a runner. And sometimes you find someone that is already a good athlete from high school or even primary school or elementary school. So you might actually know more in the sporting activity itself. But to fine tune yourself to get ready for an institution where you compete and score points, then you need to enter into a camp. The camp also is used as a measure. The coaches in the United States, they want to see how you perform in your team whenever they email or they visit the country, and they want to see the time trial. They want to see how fast you ran. So they can't really come to your house because you are not in camp. So that's why you have to exit your own home, your own comfort zone, and enter into a camp. Well, the few things that you would need is before you enter into a camp, you also need to have the tools. Just like you are in school, you have books, you have pens, and you have all the things that is a requirement for you to be a student. And of course, the coach is there, so you would need your training shoes. They're not regular shoes. You would need real training shoes. I know at times it's confusing for most people. They don't know what kind of shoes they're training on. And it cannot be one training shoe. You need multiple, at least two for a start for you. You would need the tracksuits. The tracksuits are very important because you need to be able to use the tracksuits. That's your identity when you enter into an institution. You would need. They will give you. They provide you the uniforms, with of course the shoes. You would need your shoes. You buy the. We already have the shoes. You need the training shoes. You would need the watch, the Timex, or just a basic watch that gives you the minutes to time. There's also a consensus people are using already. They run, they have a smartphone, and they're using the timer. I disagree with that. This new generation of where you are carrying a phone and you're training. Some people that are already using, what I'm already using, they earpads or earphones to listen to music when they are training. I advocate against that because there's a purpose for it. We will have a video. We will explain why we need to meditate when you're training. We need your brain to start learning about the mental training, the physicality of training your body first comes first. You train your legs, you train your lungs, you train your hand, everything within you. And then the second phase will be to train your mental ability. So that is very important because once you train yourself, you are already in shape. You need to train the mental ability to be able to win some races. And that is a key. That is the very first key is not to be using these gadgets where you are listening to music, where you're holding the phone, you're looking on social media while you're training, and you are a beginner runner. It's not recommended to do that. When you enter camp, also know few things, that you need to start doing. You need to start eating. It's the nutrition. You need to learn what kind of foods, the food that is provided, that provides energy. For example, the carbohydrates. You need to eat those. You need to stay away from sodas. The drinks. You need to stick to water. Water is number one. Because when you're training, you're losing water. So you have to stay to drinking a lot of water every day. You can't be drinking the same amounts that you do on a regular basis. If you're training, you are sweating, you're losing all this water. So you have to take them back. You have to refill them in your body. So, and the reason why soda, for example, because it has carbon, it will dehydrate. It will actually drain whatever you drink. If you drink water and you're running and sweating, so you double losing water, so which makes your body to feel different, and you may not be training well. So that's the key factors that you want to do at the camp. Another important thing is athletes that are beginning, just like anybody else, you would want to have a sleeping pattern. You want to sleep. If it's at 9 o'clock, you shut off your, all the gadgets you have, set your alarm for tomorrow, you wake up early in the mornings. The best time to trainings, always in the morning. You would wake up in the morning. The coaches, anyways, will provide the guidelines and the training for you. And it is important to really pay attention, especially after the small runs or the short runs. You would not be doing the long runs yet. You would not be doing any workouts or speed work or any hill work. You won't be doing that. Otherwise, if the coach is doing that, then you will need to stop. You need to move to a different camp. Then at the end of your run, you need to do something called cool down. Cool down is very simple. You come back in and start a jog. Do some physical exercises. You stretch. Make sure you stretch to the max. You stretch. You will start to feel different in the very first few stages, and that's normal. In many cases, people have headache. The very first week they have headache, and they think they start eating some medicine. Running, to be honest with you, running is a preemptive. You preempt anything that is toxic when you run. So do not even try to have some Panadol or Advil, whatever it is, ibuprofen. Don't eat them when you feel headache. If you started running, do not do that. It will just disappear. Keep drinking your water. Eat your food normal. There's one thing though. I will have to be honest with you, especially if you are a Kenyan. When you arrive from your run, especially in the morning, you would feel like you want to drink tea. That tea is important though, because I'm a Kenyan. I know. You lose heat whenever you run, in terms of whenever you sweat. So somehow, because of the culture, people are used to drinking tea. So this tea actually bring back the heat. because you're losing heat when you're running. So you will see some few runners, they will want to drink tea in large quantities, and it's normal, it's okay. Of course, it's a caffeine, so you would still do dehydrate, but you will still drink water. You need to drink water, but tea is good for you. You will be okay. It's not really high caffeine, like if you're drinking coffee or you're drinking like other soft drinks. You would not do that. Of course, no, don't do too much sugars in it. So otherwise, the beginner runner just starts like that, and you progress with time, and don't bring high expectation. Expectation for a beginner runner is simple. You start 1 week, you continue the same routines. At times, you might even start walking first, if depending on the weight and height and all the factors included. You can start walking the very first week. Even before you go to camp, you start walking. So that way your legs and everything start learning to adjust accordingly. And so you would do that routine. At times you arrive at the camp and somebody just came after you and they left. They got in shape quicker than you. You might get disappointed. To be honest with you, do not. Let's not have a consensus where someone just arrived and they left you, you feel disappointed, you lose focus. The main focus and the emphasis is for you to achieve the goal. At the end of the day, you will arrive, you will enter the gates of an institution. You will enter the gates and receive a scholarship, graduate with flying colors. I trained for 7 years before I came to the United States. If I gave up, I would not be here. I would not have come to this country. So if you are a professional runner, you cannot give up. I know it was an Olympic year this year, and most of the time there were two things. There were an athlete who was entering the end of their career. They were about to retire after these Olympics, or actually they were just trying to run their final year, and COVID-19 kind of stopped their life. Do not give up. Age is just a number. You can still run until whatever years you want to. And you can also continue recreational running if you are in that phase. And so secondly, there was the upcoming runner that just started, and they were getting ready to take off. They were, in the limelight, whatever they call it, the new kid on the block. And COVID kind of shut down, and there's nothing to aspire and expect. We don't know whether they can race. Some have already lost their contracts with their sponsors, and even their management might have cut off. But do not lose hope. Life at times is like that. We even know from world wars. People went to world wars, and at the end of the war, good things came of it. And so this COVID will eventually go. Good things and better things will come to your way. So do not give up. Now, for that student, I said, the student, you are maybe facing, there's something we will explain further down the line. The eligibility really counts down. Once you graduate high school, say 2019, that's when you finish your KCSE. And then you are supposed to enter in August 2020. So then, because of COVID, I don't think schools will bring in more students because the embassies are closed at the moment. So we may not have new Kenyan athletes or even other athletes from around the world. They might not come because the embassies are closed or the consulates. So then you are coming in 2021 in fall or spring if you are if the coaches or the institution provided and it's open after COVID. So you might end up coming in the spring, which is in the track season. But most of the time, students, the distance runners, they come in the fall because of the cross country. That's the cross country season. And so that would be 1 year down. But there is a consensus they might be able to have a different kind of ruling with the eligibility center. We will explain about all these eligibility issues. Is so then, my suggestion is we never relinquish the runners, the distance runners. At the end of your training, you always gain something. At the end of even 10 minutes run in your very fast run, you have learned something. You physically learned your legs, and every fiber of your muscle has learned something. They have been stretched to that limit. So continue doing that. Your brain has also known that I can run 10 minutes. I remember one guy, he told me when I arrived here, because he saw me running, I was just, doing my 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes, the long runs, 90 minutes. And so he said, how do you feel after running the whole 1 hour and 30 minutes? What do you think? What are you thinking? If I was to do it, I would be tired if I ran for 1 minute. I mean, of course, he's not a runner. He doesn't know anything about running. And running, it doesn't happen one day. It takes years. Yeah, so I had to explain to the guy, the way you would train and continue pursuing that path, never giving up. You don't. You just keep moving forward. So my suggestion is stay focused on it. Make sure that when it comes to fall 2021, if you enter these gates of an institution right here in the United States, make sure you are faster than you are today. If you are to come this year, which you did not, you make sure that if you are a man, for example, you run your first 8K, you can hit 23 minutes or 22. If you are running 24, 25, I know the trials are doing the 5Ks in the track and 3,000 meters. So you can improve your times by training hard, making sure that you can compensate the lost time with the fast times. So if you're a woman or a lady, most schools, Division 1, we will explain about these divisions later on. If you are going to enter the NCAA Division 1, make sure you can hit 16 minutes for 5K. You can do it. It's possible. You just have to train hard. You just have to train consistently. If it's three times training, you do it. If it's 2 times, you do it. Now, my final submission is there are things for professional runners. If you're a professional runner right now, the gyms are closed most of the time. We are social distancing. You can't do certain things that you're used to doing. I suggest going back to the basics. Go back to the village. Go back to where you stay, even in your own city home. Do the small things. Weeding. You use the djembe. You go weeding. That is actually gym. It is the perfect gym for most runners. You go there and use your djembe, or you start cutting, things. Your muscles are getting in shape by doing that. And you can actually cut a tree, like whenever people can cut a tree with an axe. You're using your hands. That is doing, kind of doing medicine ball in a different way. So I would suggest doing the very basic things. If you can really afford to go somewhere, or improvise. If you have to improvise, like come up, weights and the gym work. Some athletes might have accessibility to that, but the basic or the starting runner, if you're starting up, or if you are in the middle of your career as a runner, I would go to the basics. You just go there, start weeding. They may not be there to anything to weed, but do the weeding. Dig things. Use that djembe. It will help your hands. It will help your back. I even suggest throwing rocks. You can find the rocks, stones. Improvise. That would be the best and easy way to learn. So in the next video, we will continue our series. This is just the first series that we want to encourage our athletes and anybody that aspires to be one. Our next series, we will talk about the roots where these runners come from, what are their backgrounds, what are the obstacles, what are the things that they need to get where they're supposed to be. And as a community of fans and, name it, and, global citizen. So we will always want to encourage anybody that wants to do something. If you want to use your skill and talent, yes, why not? That talent can change the world today, or years down the road, rather than just go to a West. So we want to encourage, if you cannot do it, you can encourage somebody else. And also we calling on all the retired, athletes, anyone that has been an athlete before, do not go into recoil or recline or just doing the corners. Also stay within the sport. When you retire, you've been running 10 years. I suggest you stay as a sports person. I would say you stay, become a coach, become a mentor, advocate for policies that help the young runners. We have to pass the baton. Whether you like it or not, we need to be able to pass the baton to the next generation of runners. If we recoil, then we cannot pass the baton. We know the histories might be against us if we don't do that, because we know histories of certain places or certain countries. They never invested in the youth or the next generation. Guess what? Years down the road, they are history themselves. We used to hear, the story says, this country used to rule the world, or they used to rule in the distance. So we want to continue to be the dominant and use that to our benefit, whether you are earning a living or you are earning a degree or getting in shape and staying in shape, so you can also provide to community, yourself, and family. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.